The late afternoon sun stretched across the rolling hills outside Willow Creek, Montana, painting the open fields with golden light. Ethan Walker drove his aging pickup truck along a quiet country road, searching for temporary ranch work after losing his construction job in Texas. Money was running low, and every mile reminded him that he needed a fresh start. As he rounded a bend, he noticed a weathered wooden fence lying broken across a pasture. Beside it stood a woman struggling to lift a heavy fence post alone. Ethan slowed his truck, uncertain whether to continue driving or stop and offer a helping hand. He stepped out of the truck and walked toward the woman with a friendly smile. She brushed loose strands of brown hair from her face before introducing herself as Sarah Collins. Her clothes were dusty, and her hands showed years of hard work. Ethan could see exhaustion behind her calm expression. Without hesitation, he grabbed the fallen post and helped set it upright. They worked together in silence for several minutes until Sarah softly said, "I need a strong man like you." Ethan smiled politely, believing she simply meant someone capable of repairing the storm-damaged fence around her struggling ranch. The storm that had swept through the valley 2 nights earlier had destroyed nearly half the fencing surrounding Sarah's property. Several cattle had wandered into neighboring fields, forcing her to spend long hours gathering them before they disappeared completely. Ethan noticed how carefully she planned every repair despite working completely alone. She explained that hiring professional workers was impossible because the ranch had barely earned enough money during the past year. Every broken board represented another expense she could hardly afford. Ethan admired her determination and quietly offered to stay until every section of the damaged fence stood again. As they continued working, Sarah shared pieces of her life without revealing everything at once. Her husband, Daniel, had died 3 years earlier in a highway accident while transporting cattle to a livestock auction. Since then, every responsibility had fallen onto her shoulders. She cared for the ranch, managed the finances, and raised her 10-year-old daughter, Lily. Ethan listened carefully, recognizing the loneliness hidden beneath Sarah's steady voice. He understood hardship because his own life had changed overnight after losing his job. Though their stories were different, both carried the weight of uncertain futures and silent disappointments. Later that evening, Sarah invited Ethan to the ranch house for dinner as a simple thank you for his help. The cozy farmhouse overlooked wide green pastures surrounded by distant mountains glowing beneath the setting sun. Inside, Lily greeted Ethan with shy curiosity before setting an extra plate on the wooden table. The meal was simple but comforting, filled with homemade stew, fresh bread, and warm conversation. Ethan laughed more than he had in months, surprised by how peaceful the evening felt. For the first time since leaving Texas, he experienced something that resembled belonging instead of constant uncertainty. When dinner ended, Ethan prepared to leave and spend the night in his truck at a nearby campground. Sarah walked him to the porch and quietly thanked him again for stopping that afternoon. She admitted she had almost given up repairing the fence alone before he arrived. Looking across the moonlit pasture, Ethan realized the broken fence had unexpectedly led him somewhere he never intended to stop. He accepted Sarah's invitation to return the next morning and finish the remaining repairs. Neither of them realized that this ordinary decision would become the first step toward rebuilding far more than a weathered ranch fence. Ethan returned to the ranch just after sunrise, carrying fresh lumber and new fencing wire he had purchased with the little money he had left. Sarah protested when she learned he had paid for the supplies himself, but Ethan insisted it was an investment in people who deserved a fair chance. Together they worked from morning until evening, replacing broken rails and reinforcing weak sections that had been neglected for years. Lily eagerly handed them tools, laughing whenever Ethan pretended to struggle with the lighter boards. The once damaged pasture slowly began to look whole again, giving everyone a renewed sense of hope. As the days passed, Ethan noticed many other repairs the ranch desperately needed. The barn roof leaked whenever it rained, the chicken coop leaned dangerously, and the old tractor refused to start. Instead of leaving after the fence was finished, he stayed to help wherever he could. Sarah watched with quiet gratitude as each completed project brought new life to the property. Her neighbors, who had rarely seen the ranch improving since Daniel's passing, began stopping by with encouragement and small gifts. The ranch no longer felt forgotten, and Sarah's confidence slowly returned with every successful day. One peaceful evening, Sarah and Ethan sat on the porch while Lily chased fireflies across the yard. The warm Montana breeze carried the scent of fresh hay through the air. Sarah finally confessed what she had truly meant when she first said she needed a strong man. She explained that strength was never about muscles or hard labor alone. She needed someone dependable, honest, and willing to stand beside her when life became difficult. Ethan looked toward the repaired fence stretching across the pasture and realized those words had quietly changed his own heart more than he had expected. Ethan admitted he had arrived in Willow Creek believing he was only searching for another job. Losing his construction career had left him feeling like a failure, with nothing valuable left to offer anyone. Yet helping Sarah and Lily reminded him that real success was measured by the lives a person touched, not by the size of a paycheck. The ranch had given him something he never expected: purpose. Every repaired building, every smile from Lily, and every thankful glance from Sarah made him realize he had finally found a place where he truly belonged and felt genuinely appreciated. Summer gradually turned into early autumn, covering the hills with shades of gold and crimson. The ranch flourished again as healthy cattle grazed peacefully behind the sturdy fence Ethan had rebuilt. Neighbors gathered one Saturday to celebrate the successful harvest, filling the property with music, laughter, and homemade food. During the celebration, Ethan quietly led Sarah to the very spot where they had first met beside the broken fence. Holding her hands, he thanked her for giving him a second chance at life before asking if she would build the future beside him. Tears filled Sarah's eyes before she softly whispered, "Yes." Months later, the ranch became known throughout Willow Creek as a place where kindness and determination had overcome heartbreak. Ethan officially joined the family, not because he had been searching for love, but because compassion had led him there. Lily proudly introduced him as her father whenever neighbors visited, and Sarah smiled with a happiness she had not felt in years. Together they expanded the ranch, welcomed new opportunities, and faced every challenge as one family. Whenever visitors admired the strong wooden fence surrounding the fields, Ethan and Sarah quietly remembered that everything beautiful had begun with one simple act of kindness.